Okay, guys, super excited. You guys, we have Rachel here tonight. I am so excited to have her here. Let me tell you a little bit, and then I should tell everybody. And then I'll let her take over. So first things first is Rachel is a best-selling author. She has written the book Successful People Are Full of Crap. Did I get that right? And then she helped me in business for like many years, and she helped many of our leaders on this team really activate our confidence. And she has a podcast, Real Talk with Rachel Luna, and she most recently just created this journal that I've been like, what is this? See, there it is. Yes, her journal. So, and most importantly, she is a business and mindset coach. So she's helped a lot of us. She had created an academy, The Confident Entrepreneur, that really helped a lot of our team a couple years back. They took it and it just, confidence is such an important key, mindset and confidence. And when you need confidence, this is the girl. So super excited to also say she is our retreat guest speaker. So she'll be in Florida with us for the whole weekend, you guys. And she helped me. The biggest thing for me, I always tell this story, is I remember like I was in the motions doing the business, but I wasn't in an awareness, and I didn't think I had any good to add or value to add or any support. Like I couldn't wrap my brain around how I could, even though I was growing and doing, I struggled to believe in myself as a leader, and she helped me like figure it all out through coaching. So you guys are in for a huge treat. You're going to meet her tonight, and then you're going to meet her in person if you are in Florida. And I know we have Nancy on the line who's already earned the trip, and we do have some that are jumping on. They're not on yet, but shout out to Jen and Crystal Perry, Melissa, and I think we have one other person that earned the trip, Ashton. I think she's just getting home. So without further ado, I'm going to let Rachel take over, and then I assume if you guys have questions, just put them in the chat and she'll check it later.
All right. Yeah, you can put them in the chat. I'll have the chat open to the side. First of all, thank you so much for having me, Lindsay. I'm super excited to be here. I always get a little nervous when like former clients come back and they say, come in front of my people, because, it's their people. It's a lot for someone to say, come in and lead my people. So I'm super honored, but let's just get right into it, because this is not about me. I titled this message, Leaders Sell First. And what I would like to ask you all to do right now is make sure that you are distraction free. Make sure that you are stationary. If you're going to be shuffling around and moving and all that, don't. You need to actually take this time to pay attention, because I'm going to speak fast. I have notes so that I make sure that I stay on task today. And I want to make sure that I really give you what I know is going to make an impact if you are actually in the place where Lindsay has said you are, meaning you're in this place where you want to take your business to the next level, where you are saying like, I'm ready to do something. I'm tired of playing small. I'm tired of mediocrity. If you are not tired of mediocrity, if you are not uncomfortable with the way your current situation is right now, then I'm probably not the right person to teach you. And I like to say all the disclaimers up front, because I want to make sure you understand that I came here to serve those who are tired of being where they are. I came here to serve those who want to go to the next level. And I don't just mean that they say they want it. They are in a serious situation where it's like, look, girl, if this does not change soon, I don't know what I'm going to do next. If this doesn't get better, we have issues. So let me know in the chat box if that's you, if you're at the place of, yes, I'm ready for change. I'm tired of playing small. I'm ready to play big. I'm trying to believe bigger. I'm trying to do bigger. I'm trying to help bigger. I want to see that. Okay, so my title today is Leaders Sell First. I think there's a book called Leaders Eat Last. Is that what it's called, Lindsay? Do you know that book, Leaders Eat Last or whatever? And I thought, you know what? That is true. Leaders do eat last. I was in the United States Marine Corps, and I was a staff sergeant, so I was senior enlisted. And I remember, yeah, we would let the junior Marines go. But you know what we did not do? We did not lead from the rear. You can't lead from behind. Do you understand that? You can't help people get somewhere. Talk about, go ahead, just keep going. It's right up ahead, and then you're going to make a left. Because you know what's going to happen? There might be a slight left before the actual left. Have you ever been on a road and it says turn left up ahead, and then you get to the road, but it's like, wait a second, there's a slight left and then there's a left. Which left am I supposed to take? That's because you don't have the proper leadership. You don't have the proper guidance. So what does leaders sell first mean? Well, first of all, you have to understand that the word sell is synonymous with recruiting. The word sell is synonymous with serving. So what that means is that you have to have a great attitude and idea and belief around selling. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm drinking out of a mug that says Sales Slayer. I come to slay the sales. Why? Because I come to serve at a higher level. Now, let me give you a couple of characteristics of an effective leader, and then I'm going to explain to you why this whole leader sell first is so critical, that you get it, that you absorb it, that you actually start to fall in love, that you start to get to a place where selling feels good. Like the other side of the mug says, feel good sales, because I'm all about that. Okay, so what is an effective leader? Start writing this down. An effective leader is a visionary. It is one who inspires action. It is one who communicates effectively. An effective leader is one who thinks outside of the box. And an effective leader is one who is decisive. Don't worry if you didn't catch all of that, because we're about to break it down Barney style right now. Okay. When we talk about you as the visionary leader, what that means is that you have to have the ability to sell your prospect, your recruit, and your talent, aka your other team members, the people that have already joined you. You need to be able to sell them on your vision. And it's not just your own personal vision. You need to be able to sell them on the vision that you have for them and for their life. And let me break this down a little more, because something that a lot of people seem to forget is that you are in an industry where you are working with people who do not believe in themselves the way that you believe in them. And Lindsay actually mentioned that at the beginning when she did the intro. She struggled with the belief. When she came to work with me, I already believed in her. I could see what was possible for her, and I knew that I was the person that could help her. So the first thing I have to ask you is, do you know that you are the person to help your prospects? Do you know that you are the person to help the people that you're trying to recruit into this business as both challengers and coaches? And I'm gonna throw another spin here. Not only do you know it, but do you believe it? Because if you don't believe, if there's a part of you that feels any kind of doubt, that bleeds through. So when you show up as the leader that you're trying to be, you actually can't sell them on the vision because you can't see it for yourself. And if you can't see it for yourself, how can you see it for them? Is everybody tracking with this? Okay. So let's keep going with this concept of, do you know, do you believe that you are the right person? And do you have enough vision for them? Can you see the potential in the person that you are trying to recruit into this business? Here's something that I've seen happen so often. In fact, Lindsay, calling you out, you know you couldn't bring me up in here without me calling you out just like a little bit. But do you remember when we were having some conversations and you were making some preconceived statements about the people that you were trying to recruit? They're not this, they're not that. They don't want it like I want it. Remember that? So that happens a lot. And we've all been guilty. Like, I've been there. I have looked at some people that have wanted to work with me and I'm like, oh, no, they're not going to be able to. I don't see it. I don't believe in it. I actually had a client recently come to me. I ended up not taking her on as a client because I didn't believe in what she was doing. It was, I mean, everything about what she was doing felt wrong to me. And this is where you as the leader have to have integrity. Why this business isn't working for some of you is because you are so caught up on points that you are not talking to the right people. You're just trying to get anybody. Like, let me just get anybody. And what happens is when you get anybody is that there's a part of you that does not have vision for those people that you've recruited. You don't even believe that they could do it, but you needed the point, so you brought them on. And what ends up happening is that they don't have success, you don't have success, and now the whole little building that you've built of cards starts to crumble. So as a visionary leader who is selling first, you have to be able to sell your vision for that person. When you start talking to your prospect, you have to already be able to see them winning. You have to be able to see them having victory. You have to be able to see them crossing that finish line. And we're going to get into point 3. You're going to have to be able to communicate that effectively. Actually, let's just go into that, communicating effectively. No, we're not. I wrote it in a particular order for a reason. We'll get to point 3 on communicating effectively. But you have to be able to have that vision for them so that you can do the second part, which is to inspire action. Some of you are having a ton of conversation, but no action is following. How many of you are in that little state right now where you're prospecting, you're doing all the things, but nobody is following your lead? Do you have a vision for where you want them to go? Do you already have a plan for them in mind? Because when I came on this call today, even though I know how to freestyle, right? I could have actually just come on this call and ran my mouth for an hour. And a lot of you would have been like, oh my gosh, that was great, da 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 da, right? Because this is what I do. I run my mouth for a living. But prior to this, Lindsay and I had a conversation, and we actually identified the goals for this group. We actually understood where we want you to go. We know where we're trying to take you. And in order for me to be able to take you where Lindsay's trying to lead you, where we're trying to get all of you to Destin with us, I had to actually sit down and prepare and see the vision for this call. I couldn't just wing it. I couldn't just get up here and start running my mouth, because while I would have said some very great and inspiring things, I would not have been able to activate you to actually take the steps that I'm going to lay out for you as we go through this call. Is this making sense for you? Are you tracking? Are you starting to see what I'm saying? And are you thinking about how you've been showing up? And can you see a little bit of disconnect already? Can you see, oh, okay, well, wait, I haven't been thinking about it strategically like this. Okay, wait a second. I really haven't given this much thought in this way. Okay, let's carry on. So as a leader, you need to be able to inspire action. And the very first action that you need them to take is what? You need them to say yes. You have to establish a pattern of yes. So as you are having conversations with your prospects, I want you to start asking questions that you already know is going to produce a yes. Lawyers say they never ask a question they don't already know the answer to. So hear me when I say this. You are going to ask yes or no questions, but only questions that you know the person is going to say yes to. This is called establishing a pattern of yes. Studies have proven that people are more likely to keep saying yes once you already have them in this yes mindset cycle. So you have to be able to inspire that first yes action, and you have to be able to continue to inspire the yes action, the yes action, the yes action. Whether it's click this link and watch this video, click this link and get on a call, hit reply and drop me an emoji. Your whole mission is to get them into this pattern of yes, you are trying to inspire them to take an action. The more micro actions you can get them to take, the bigger macro action, which is ultimately what? To become a coach on your team, they will be able to take. Is everyone tracking? Am I talking too fast? Give me some. Okay, everything's good to go? Great. Take a sip of water or tea. Because we got to stay hydrated. Okay. Point number 3, as a leader, you need to be able to communicate effectively. That means that you need to be able to sell your ideas, sell your systems, and sell your processes. A lot of you do not have systems in place, which is why if I said to you, I have 40 people right now who want to sign up as coaches. How many of you on this call right now will be like, give them to me. I have the systems in place. I'm not going to lose my mind. I will be able to execute and onboard 40 people this week easily. Tell me in the chats. I got one. I got one. I got two. Lindsay's like, I don't know, man. Lindsay, I taught you better than this. Okay. So let me explain to you what's happening here. This is why some of you are also struggling to recruit and to actually hit your numbers, because you don't have a system in place to get people through your little sequence, right? I don't want to say little. You don't have a clear defined path. And so the idea of 40, let's just say we're going to keep playing with this number. The idea of onboarding 40 people might actually drive you crazy, because it's like, man, I don't even have 40 hours in the week. When am I going to get on these getting started right calls? How am I going to make sure that they get plugged into the group? I can barely write all the welcome emails, right? When you don't have systems set up, what ends up happening is that your subconscious mind starts to reject prospects, because you know that if you brought them on, you wouldn't be able to take care of them. The same thing happens with just outreach, just actually initiating those first, hey, how you doing? Can I tell you about this opportunity conversation? Because you already feel stretched. So in your mind, it's like, if I reach out to 10 more people today and those 10 people respond, there's no way I'm going to be able to follow up with them all. In fact, I've had Beachbody clients tell me, I can't recruit this week because I'm still following up with the people from last week, which to me is the most insane thing I've ever heard. You should be recruiting every single day if that feels in alignment. If it doesn't feel in alignment with for you to personally do outreach, you should have a system in place where the outreach is being done for you in some sort of automated capacity. But the bottom line is that you should be showing up for your business every single day. So you have, number one, a communication breakdown, or number two, a systems breakdown. So I just want to know, where are you? Are you one, communication? And let me explain what the communication breakdown is. This is where you are giving them all the information, you're spending hours forming them, and then they say no. That's a communication breakdown. A systems breakdown is you're putting off recruiting because you don't have the bandwidth or the capacity to actually follow up and onboard. So which are you, a one or a two or a both? Number one is a communication breakdown. Number two is a systems breakdown. Put it in the chat, y'all. Come on, talk, come on. Don't make me talk to myself. I'm here to chat with you. It's like, this is not a lecture. I'm actually really, really here in real life. It's not a video. Okay, Mary and I both say 1 and 2. Mine's is the follow-up. Kind of 1, the communication breakdown. Working on number 2, the systems. Okay, cool. Okay, 1. 1 is starting to be the big winner. Some of you have 2, but the 1 is that you're having a communication breakdown. Okay, so here's what's happening. You are not doing the upfront legwork. Okay, let me take a sip of tea because this is about to get good. Hold on. Did you know that when you give your prospect too much information, they are actually forced to burn calories in their brain? And the more calories they burn, the more fatigue they get. And so what happens is you're giving them all this information, all this information, all this information, but you haven't properly recognized what their pain point is so that you could cut right to the chase and speak directly to that one little thing. Most of the time, people only need one piece. You're giving them 45 different things, right? Like, so for example, tonight, I'm probably going to put you into calorie fatigue to an extent, because I'm not trying to get you to do anything else. I just want you to get this information. But if I wanted to sell you on something, there's no way in heaven's earth would I come to the table with 2 pages worth of real content that I need you to know. Because if I did that, I would put you into a space of overwhelm. You would be so confused and so busy processing, okay, well, which one do I need to work on? Okay, well, I need to start thinking about the vision. Okay, well, next I need to start thinking about the action. Okay, well, then I have to sketch. And you'd be thinking about all the things you need to do. And so when I came up with the cell and I said, well, look, I've just broken all these things down. Do you want to go deeper? You'd be like, well, let me work on this first. Let me sort of figure this out first, and then I'll circle back to you. How many of you have gotten prospects say to you, let me look over all of this and I'll get back to you. Let me take a look, right? Because you're giving them too much information. When we get to Destin, I'll break down more of exactly how we're going to create the right sales pitch for you going into 2019 so that it is solid. But let me just give you a little taste right now, because I want you to start selling right now, because 2018 is not over. And I know some of you still need to earn this trip. And this is not in my notes, but I just feel like somebody actually really needs this. I feel like somebody's already feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. So let me just break this down and see how I want to position this for you. If you're in this camp of 1, the communication, I want you to think, just for these 48 days that we have left in 2018, I want you to think about the one kind of person that you want to work with. I'm asking you to niche down. Everybody's afraid to niche down because, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose people. I'm not telling you to do this forever. This is a 48-day challenge, okay? I want you to think of the one person, one ideal client that you want, the one ideal coach that you want on your team. And what is his or her number one problem? Is it that they need money because Christmas is coming up? Is it that they need to lose weight and they're afraid of what's going to happen next week on Thanksgiving? Is it that they need to overcome emotional eating? I'm just spitballing here, you guys. Throw me some ideas. But I want you to think about that one unique problem. And the content that you are going to create for the next 48 days is going to be all around highlighting that pain. I know some people don't like to sell based on the pain because you feel like, well, I don't want to make them feel bad. But I'm going to tell you right now, people will only make the commitment to change when they are uncomfortable. And a lot of people don't realize that they have a bigger problem than just that surface problem. So Rebecca says she needs money. Okay, Rebecca, there's actually another problem there. So she thinks she needs money, but the underlying problem, the deeper, the external problem that she's dealing with is she needs money. The internal problem that she has is she needs money because she thinks that when she gets money, then what's the if this then that statement? Okay? If you want to figure out your ideal coach's internal problem, it is always a if this then that. If they get this thing, then something else will happen. You want to speak to the then something else will happen part of the statement. You also want, I'm giving you some ideas for content here, okay? Because I want you to start thinking strategically and how you're going to communicate this. Another thing that you're going to point out is the misconceptions that they have. So right now, she needs money. Murray says she doesn't see the kids enough. So she needs money because she feels that if she had more money, then maybe she could spend more time with her kids. Okay, so what are the misconceptions associated with getting more money? So people think that as soon as they have more money, all of a sudden they're going to magically, deliciously know how to balance their time. But that's a myth. More money does not mean more time if you don't know how to manage your time. Hello, time challenge. Hello, join my free challenge on balancing your time over the holidays. That's a crappy name. We'll think of something better. But Time-tested strategies for better time management over the holidays. I don't know. I'll think about that if somebody really likes that. But if she needs more time, you have to explain to her the myths, the lies that she believes around what she thinks is going to happen when she gets this more time. And you have to show her this is the first step. Now, you're not going to give everything away. When you give everything away, you confuse. You give them too much work. Now they can't make any more decisions because they're too busy doing the work that you told them. But the more you highlight, here's the problem, here's the pain, here's what you think is going to happen, here's what's really going to happen, here's what could happen, here's what would be possible, here's how Beachbody made it possible, here's what my community is doing because we know all these things. Those are 8 pieces of content. Did you guys catch that? Did I say it too fast? I want to make sure that you're with me. So I just gave you 8 different ways that you could tap in to your ideal client and you can communicate effectively. Because as soon as you start talking about these kind of different ways, now they're going to be paying attention like, well, wait a second. This Tiffany girl, she's saying something. Wow, Melissa's really zoned in. She understands me. Michelle figured it out. Well, it sounds like Michelle has the answer. I think I need to talk to Michelle. Jennifer just said something really interesting there. Now, some people are going to reject it completely. Somebody on this call is completely rejecting everything I'm saying. And that's okay, because when they reject, you're going to call that out and say, I've been talking about this and you probably completely disagree with me. That's cool, but here's why I know it works. Case study. Here's why I know everything I'm telling you works. Because Lindsay fought me on half of this stuff when we worked together. And yet, look, she's still doing great. Still crushing it, right? Because she worked through it. Because I was able to communicate effectively with her. Another thing I want to say about communicating effectively, I'm totally going off my notes here, but I just feel like this is something that needs to be said. Don't be afraid to offend people. I live to offend people. I live to do it. Let me tell you why. When I say I live to offend people, I'm not doing that to hurt people's feelings. I live to offend because I know that when I offend, it means 2 things are happening. Number 1, I'm really honoring my truth. And number 2, I am calling out something important that my ideal client needs to hear. And my ideal client might be offended, but intrigued. I get messages all the time. Girl, you just keep it so real. You hurt my feelings, but I can't stop watching you. Can't stop looking at you because you just say it, right? So some people are deeply offended by me, but they will not turn the channel. Some people are deeply offended and they will block me on the spot. Awesome. Because they're taking up bandwidth. They're messing up my numbers. Because guess what? You know how you think like, well, I have all these followers, but nobody's engaging? It's probably because a lot of those followers are not your ideal. So they're just lurking. You haven't said enough to offend them to get them out of the way so that you can actually start to see true engagement from your true followers. Somebody's picking up what I'm throwing down here. So you got to be okay with offending people. And just recognizing that you're not doing it out of malice. You are offending from a place of service. I have to come in here and tell you the truth. I have to break it down for you, because if I don't tell you the truth, I'm actually doing you a disservice. If I coddle you and I tell you, you know what, if you don't feel like inviting today, that's okay. If you just want to take these next 48 days and like enjoy the holidays with your family and not think about your business, go ahead. You can catch up into, no. That's a lie. It's a lie from hell. And I'm not here to spread lies. I'm only here for the truth. And the truth is that if you want to create change in your business, you still have 48 days to do so. And you can also enjoy your holidays with your family, because I don't believe in a this or that way of being. You can absolutely go ham on your business. I'm looking at a kid because here she comes. No, I didn't call you. You see, I'm spending time with you, and I'm still enjoying my family, and I'm still being harassed by an 8-year-old. But here's the thing. You can have this and that. You can go ham on your business and also spend amazing quality time with your kids. How do you do that? You get obsessive about the work that you're doing within the time that you have. That means that if you only have 2 hours a week, in those 2 hours, you are locked in and laser focused. The phone is on do not disturb. You're doing your messaging, you're doing your outreach, you're doing whatever it is that lights you up and gets you to the next level in those 2 hours. And then you go back to your holiday prep and brining your turkey. My husband has already put me on notice. I have to brine. We're doing chicken, not turkey. But he's like, you're going to brine it, right? Don't tell me how to do my job. But I'm glad he reminded me because I actually was not going to brine it. So, but you know what? He's not here right now. And so I'm here. I'm all in with y'all. And then when we get off this call, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go love on them 2 little babies over there. Because you can have this and that. I want you, if you have been struggling with, I have to choose between my business and my family, I have to choose between my business and my husband or my wife, put that to an end right now. Even, and especially if your spouse is not supportive, is there anybody in here that has an unsupportive spouse? Okay, I knew I felt it. I felt it was in this, I felt it in the room. Listen, Michelle, don't you worry if your spouse is not supportive right now. Here's what I want you to do. I'm speaking from experience because I have been there. I went from my husband looking me in the eye and telling me, I don't believe in what you do. I still get choked up every time I think about that moment where he looked at me in the eye and said, I don't believe in what you do. All of you life coaches are just scammers. Tony Robbins is just a master marketer. Y'all are out there stealing money. These are the exact words that my husband said to me. 3 weeks ago, I spoke on a stage in front of 500 women, and my husband could not contain himself from the joy and the pride that he felt watching me. You know what he said after I spoke? He said, wow, babe, you really sounded like an expert. I said, what do you mean I sounded like I am an expert, you fool? He said, yeah, but you really sounded like one compared to all the other speakers that were up there. Like, you sounded so legit. Michelle, I'm gonna tell you how that happened, how I got my husband from telling me everything I do is a big scam to like, he's getting ready to retire and work in this business with me. I stopped talking to him about my business because what he started to realize what he started to feel was resentment towards my business. It was already taking up a lot of my time. And then when I was with him, all I wanted to do was talk about business. I wasn't meeting his needs. So I want you to shift your focus that when you're with your husband, it is about filling his needs. It's about your relationship. It's about building intimacy and connection. You know, I always recommend, are there children in the room? Because if there's children, earmuff it up real fast. I always recommend my clients, I need you to start having more sex with your husbands. And definitely, I mean, if they're into blowjobs, I'm gonna need you to get on your knees a little more often than what you've been doing lately, if that's their thing. Everybody laughs, but let me tell you, I create happy husbands. And how, y'all think I'm crazy. How many videos did Hal do in your group talk about how much he loved me? Why? Yeah, because this is the number one advice I give. You need to work on your marriage, on your intimacy, meeting each other's needs as a marriage. In the meantime, go out there and get results, because all this talk about your hopes and dreams means nothing. Your husband, your spouse, your partner is going to come around when they start to see, oh, wait a second, you actually paid for something around here? You put some money in the bank account? Oh, this thing does work. Okay. So can we move on? I have so many other points. I know some happy husbands tonight. Happy husbands. And ladies, while you're out there, don't be afraid to tell your man what you want, because they actually will appreciate it. If you say, baby, I really love it when you do X, Y, and Z. Go ahead, handle it. Tiffany's husband, I'm looking at you. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, this is so perfect, because my next talking point is that as a leader, you need to think outside of the box. You do need to think. Listen, the fact that I just gave you that kind of advice that I gave you right now for your business, that is outside of the box thinking. hold on, something's not working. My relationship is kind of messed up because of this business, but I love this business and I love my partner. What can I do differently? How can I think outside the box? That's what a leader does. A leader thinks outside the box. Drink some water, take some tea. I gotta been running my mouth all day, y'all. Okay. So, but let me go deeper on what this thing outside of the box means. You need to zig when everyone else is zagging. You need to get loud when everyone else gets silent. And right now, this is the silent season. Traditionally, what I've seen, and I've been doing this for 8 years now, is in the online marketing space, the online business space, most people take this time off for the holiday break. The people, that actually start to get very loud are e-commerce. So, pardon me, product-based businesses, right? Like gadgets, Amazon, planners, journals. I'm so sorry, y'all. All those people start to talk and get hype and really loud about their holiday offers. Challenge groups, those start to get quiet because a lot of people start to think, let me just focus on the holidays. Let me prepare for next year. This is a perfect opportunity. Why would you not come out of the gate bold, loud, saying the things that everybody's thinking? And by the way, I recognize that I'm a little more in your face than some of you might be. Fun fact is that I'm actually an introvert. People think I'm an extrovert. I'm not. I like my alone time. I like to be by myself. If there's too many people, I'm just like, I gotta go somewhere. But I'm bold in what I believe in. You have to be bold about what you believe. And you don't have to be, I know I'm abrasive and I'm here and you don't have to be that animated to speak your truth and to be seen and visible. What you need to do is you need to say the things that people are thinking but not saying. And you could do that in a very calm, quiet way. You could be like, hey, look, I just want to come up in here and talk about something that I'm noticing. What I'm noticing is that there's too many marriages breaking up over businesses when they don't need to break up over businesses. Because what I know is that when you have intimacy with your partner, they tend to forgive a lot more. Now, I just said the exact same thing, right? Intimacy, blowjobs, the exact same thing. I say it a little more in your face. Someone else will say it a little more demure. But what's happening is that it's still being said, right? I'm still saying something that needs to be said that most people don't really want to talk about because they're afraid to offend. So I want you to think outside the box right now. Like, how can I leverage these 48 days? How can I actually show up differently than I've been showing up for the last 10 months? You've probably been doing a lot of the same thing because we create repetition, we create patterns. Patterns, repetition, systems, and processes are good. And also disrupting the pattern is good too. So I want you to think, how can I really take what I've been doing and put a very different spin on it? What are some of the things that I've been thinking about talking about, thinking about doing, but not doing because I've been afraid of how I'm going to be perceived? Because I've been afraid that I'm going to step out of line or be out of order. Now is the time to be out of order. Now is the perfect time to be out of order. 2 reasons. 1, everybody else is going silent, so they're not going to even say that much, right? The people that you think are going to criticize and judge you, they're not. They're silent. But the people that are looking for change, they are active. Their eyes are open. They're looking for something. I don't know about you, but I have been looking for iRobot sales for Black Friday. I'm hungry for it. Nobody's been talking about iRobot, the Roombas or the whatever. I haven't seen any promotions, but I bet you I'm going to see something on Black Friday. Why? Because that is the time. Because it's been silent. They've been dark. Okay. The final point that I want to make, and then I'm going to give you some prompts and some work to do, is that as a leader, you need to be decisive. An effective leader is decisive. And you need to decide right now who you're going to be and how you're going to show up. Are you already living in 2019 and have given up on 2018? Some of you you're already in 2019. You know what you're going to do in January. You've been thinking about February. You got your 6 months planned out, but you don't even know what the heck you're going to do in November and December. So you need to decide, are you already living in 2019 and have given up on 2018? Or do you recognize that there is opportunity upon opportunity available for you in the next 48 days? For some reason, I just thought of, have any of you ever watched the 48 Hours, the next 48 Hours, that TV show? Where the 48 hours are so critical, because if they do everything that they need to do in those first 48 hours, everything just falls into place. That's exactly what's happening right now for 2019. You got 40, but it's days. You got 48 days. And whatever you do in these next 48 days are going to set you up for 2019. Ooh, that's a good analogy, y'all. I wish I had gone live with that earlier today, because there's so much I could say on that. But if we think about, let's just go deep on this for a second, because this is a good word right here. If you think about what those scientists and detectives are doing in those 48 hours, they're talking to everybody and their mother, are they not? They're gathering information. They're collecting facts. Have you been talking to your ideal clients? Have you been gathering facts and information? Have you been surveying your people? Do you know what they're looking for? Do you know what they're eating for breakfast? Do you know what they really want to do? Y'all haven't been doing that. Come on now. Like, the first 48 hours are so important to solving the case and getting to the bottom of the mystery. These next 48 days are going to be so important to your 2019. I'm going to have to go live after this. Somebody else needs to hear this. Oh my gosh. I'm going to plan properly for that, because that just came up. Thank you, Jesus, for those divine messages. Okay. Next question I want you to ask yourself is, are you going to be bold and visible? Are you ready to disrupt? Are you ready to be bold about what you believe and what you know? Hi, look at this little cutie that just joined us. Are you going to be bold about what you believe? Or are you going to stay stuck in your old patterns and your old stories about why this isn't going to work for you, and why it's so much easier for everybody else, and why your audience isn't paying attention? And I already tried that before, but it didn't work. Listen, I have a friend of mine. Her motto is, we keep doing it until it works. That's her thing. We keep doing it. As a matter of fact, the other day she was promoting her program, and she said, someone asked me, how long will it take? And my response is, who cares? Who cares how long it takes? If me testing and figuring it out and taking all the time I need to figure it out means that at the end of the day, I'm going to have consistent income. Imagine if Lindsay had said, you know what, this Beachbody business took too long. I got to quit. It took too long. She and Hal wouldn't have the life that they have. You all certainly would not be here right now, having this amazing opportunity that you have. Just think about that for a second. Okay. Whew. There's something, I'm going to come back to it. I'm feeling, who's feeling conflicted right now? Who's in a period of dissonance? Dissonance is when you believe two conflicting thoughts. Like, I want this to work. I believe it's going to work, but at the same time, I don't believe it's going to work. Yeah, okay. See, I felt it. I felt some dissonance here. Okay. Let me just speak to that for a second. Then I'm going to give you these questions, and then we're going to wrap it up, because I think we said we're going to do this for 1 hour. I want to be respectful of your time. So dissonance is a real thing. It's when we have two conflicting thoughts. When we have two conflicting thoughts, it's very difficult for us to take action, because on the one hand, hi, buddy. On the one hand, we want to go ham, all in. We believe it's going to work. And on the other hand, we have all this evidence, but it's not working. So where it needs to happen is that, number one, you have to have an increase in faith. And faith, I was about to quote scripture, but this is not that kind of party. So let me read it, let me bring it back. But faith is believing in something before you see it. Okay? The way that your faith is increased is by your hearing. People think that our faith is increased. I'll believe it when I see it. And then once I see it, I'll be able to believe it, and then I'll have more faith. But that's not what faith is. Faith is, I hear a whisper in my heart that says I can do this, and I believe that voice. Faith is, I heard a calling. I heard that I was called to do this business. I heard an opportunity and I answered, and so I'm just going to go with it. I heard Lindsay give her testimonial and tell me that this Rachel chick could maybe help me. So I have faith, so I'm going to show up on this call and I'm going to listen, and I have faith that she's going to say something. Faith is increased every time you hear testimony from others that it worked, and testimony from yourself audibly, your own words. Here's what happens. We're spending too much time in our head listening to the subconscious voice. The subconscious voice is that other piece of the dissonance that says, I want to believe it, but I don't see it, so I don't. And the one thing I did hear was that someone said that they were working and working and working, and then I saw that it didn't work. I heard that she was doing all the things, but I keep seeing that it's not working for her. You guys picking up what I'm putting down? So you have to start making your declarations. This is not strategic in terms of like, oh, this is going to help me make money. But this is the most strategic thing I can tell you to win the battle that's going on in your mind. And when you win the battle that's going on in your mind, everything else, all the other actual technical marketing strategies that I could teach you will fall into place. But you will not be able to execute any of the marketing tips and tricks that I have if your mindset is constantly having a battle of dissonance. So how do we do that? We speak faith into ourselves by making our declarations of, I know that this business works, and I have evidence because I heard that Monday morning wake-up call when, coach whoever the hell said she crushed it after struggling for months and months and months. I know that this is for me because I heard Melissa say thank you to me for changing her life because I led her to this business. I know that this is working for me because every single day I'm taking action and I'm getting traction. And so you have to start declaring those things. Here's what happens. Most of you won't do this. I'm just gonna put it out there right now. Most of you are like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna make declarations and affirmations. And in fact, Lindsay, when we get off this call, send me a text and I'll take a picture of some declarations that I have written out just to give you guys a little starter. So some of you are like, this is great. Yeah, I need to do that. Most of you are not going to do what I'm going to tell you. A few of you will. Those of you that do exactly what I'm telling you to do right now with consistency are going to see radical shift and change in your business. But those of you that are really serious, I want you to start saying them out loud. You're going to feel like a dummy. Like, I just felt like a straight up ass the first couple times I did this. You're going to feel foolish, feel silly. Say them out loud. In the beginning, you're going to still have dissonance. Every time that you say it, I want you to say it a little bit louder and a little bit louder and a little bit louder. What ends up happening is that your audible voice increases your faith and it minimizes that inner subconscious voice. So that when the subconscious voice starts to come in, you will hear your own audible voice combating the dissonance. Okay? Does this make sense? Like, this is warfare. This is mind warfare that you're going to do within yourself. I want you to say these a minimum of 2 times a day, once in the morning, once at night. But if you're a really hard charger, 3 times a day. And they don't have to be a lot of statements. You pick your 10. Pick 10 declarations. Here's how I pick my declarations. And by the way, I have them and I say them because every time you get to a new level, there's a new set of who do you think you are? You're crazy. That's never going to happen. Do you remember what happened when? There's always your past trying to come into your present to build up a wall. But you know what I do with all those little limiting blocks? I build a path. I put them, I said, oh, I heard you say I couldn't do this because what? Oh, because it didn't work last time? Okay, well, you know what? It didn't work last time, but this is what I'm going to do this time. Boom, brick laid down. Oh, such and such didn't work for her, so it's not going to work for me. Okay, well, what did she do? Such and such. Okay, let me lay this brick down because I'm going to learn from what she did. And I start taking what was meant to be a wall and I make it a path. When you have these declarations that you're saying to yourself on repeat 3 times a day, 2 times at minimum, you then learn how to build that path for yourself. Are you going to have moments of struggle? Absolutely. I had a moment this morning. I almost had to slap myself. Said, Rachel, you are crazy. You have lost your mind. Don't you know who you are? And I just went off in all of my affirmations because I already know them. Girl, you are the daughter of the Most High. You are righteous. You are royalty. You are blessed and highly favored. You were called for such a time as this. Behold, God is doing a new thing. And that means new strategy, new vision, new ideas, new people, new influence, new authority, new power. You see how I'm doing that? That's not how it was the first time I did it. The first time I did it, I was like, behold, I am doing a new thing. And I was reading from my book. And I didn't believe it. But I kept speaking it and speaking it and speaking it and hearing it and hearing it and hearing it. And now I believed it. Sometimes I might even believe it a little too much. People tell me like, gosh, you just really don't doubt yourself. I'm like, I do sometimes, but most of the time not. Because I believe, because I've heard it enough. Okay, so who do you need to be right now to have the business that you desire? Oh, gosh, I just have so much more that I want to teach you. Who's coming to Destin, just first of all, before? Okay, 2 for sure. Who's declaring that they're coming to Destin? Okay, Tiffany, I'm proud of you. Because Tiffany went like this, I don't know. I want to believe. Tiffany, that's one of your declarations. I'm excited. I got front row seats at Destin. Babysitter locked down. Dog sitter contracted. For free, too, for free. I don't even have to pay for that. Tickets, frequent flyer points, racked up. Everything working on my behalf. I'm at Destin. Because I have so much more to share with you. And there's just this 1 hour is not enough. Tiffany says, I live 2 hours away. Great. Gas, free. So I found myself a gas card and the gas was paid for. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I have been believing for all kinds of crazy things. Let me just tell you this really quick story. I was looking for sponsors did Lindsay tell y'all I'm having a live event in June 2019? Okay, we'll plug that later in the group. But anyway, so we're looking for sponsors. And I said, I really want a coffee company because I want to be able to give them little packets of coffee. And I said, yes, coffee company, you're coming my way. I had a dream last night that I was getting help from all kinds of places. And in my dream, the help didn't look like how I wanted it, but I said, thank you anyway. And as I was writing in my journal this morning, y'all don't even understand the power of journaling. I was writing in my journal this morning. I said, thank you, God, because I had this dream last night. And I was getting help from all kinds of ways. And I'm just declaring that sponsors are coming and I'm going to get help in all kinds of ways. I go to my phone. There is a big sign on Instagram or a sponsored ad that said, would you like us to sponsor you? A coffee company with a big sign ad that said, would you like us to sponsor you for the year? Swipe up to apply. Holy Spirit, where are you? I saw you. You're out and about because I just wrote that down, right? Look, when you get into this practice, you're going to start to see some crazy supernatural things happening. I know you don't believe me now because you haven't seen it, but I want you to hear the words that are coming out of my mouth because it's going to work for you. Okay. So who do you need to be right now to have the business that you desire? Here's the thing. A lot of us think that we have to take action, and that the more action we take, then we will become. So we live by this do, be, have, or do, have, be. Like if I do this, then I'll have this, then I'll be that, right? That is the backwards way of doing it. We first have to be the kind of person that, the person who, the leader that we first have to be. Then we will do the things, then we will have the things. So who do you have to be right now? Not later, not tomorrow, right now. Who do you have to become in this moment to have the business you desire? Do you have to be someone who wakes up an hour earlier? Do you have to be someone who's organized? Do you have to be someone who is outgoing? Do you have to be someone who is bold? Do you have to be someone who is confident? Who do you have to be? And then every single day, before you approach anything, you have to say, I am bold. I am organized. I am confident. And by the way, it's very hard to say to yourself, I am organized, when all of a sudden you look, I'm just going to show y'all because this office today is a mess, right? Like it's hard for me to say I am organized, but then have this whole mess and a vacuum cleaner up in there. You see the vacuum cleaner? However, just by the fact that I said I am organized, do you know what I felt like doing? I felt like cleaning that little corner up just because I said it. And so now I know what's going to happen. There's no way I'm going to be able to go to bed tonight without just tidying up this little corner right here and putting the vacuum back in my room, because I am an organized person. And that's what an organized person would do. An organized person would make sure that at least one corner of her house was put together before she went to bed. So who do you have to be right now to have the business that you desire? So just put that in the comments right now. Put that in the chat. Who do you have to be? Because it's important that you get this. Please don't hang up this call without knowing who you have to be in order to have the dream, the business that you desire, and the dreams come true, all those things. Okay? Whilst you're doing that, I'm going to take a little quick sip of water. I mean tea. Nothing in the chats. Organized, bold. Okay, Melissa says, I'm really struggling with this question. Okay. Jennifer says, I have to be bold. Rebecca, more consistent, intentional, dedicated. More confident, more consistent. Okay, Melissa, unmute. Okay, talk to me.
I'm struggling because I feel like I get up the extra hours early. Mm-hmm. I put in the time. I'm super organized and crazy. Mm-hmm. I'm doing all of the invites. I'm doing the things that they say to check off your
Stop
list.
You right there. What does she say, you guys? I'm doing. Doing and being are two different things. So let's just bring awareness to that. Okay, so you're doing all the things. Go. Keep going.
I've finally talking to my person. I don't know. I haven't missed SC, signing coaches. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
So what do you not have?
The rank. I can't push to the next level for diamonds. That's what I want.
Okay. Why do you believe that that's happening?
I don't know. I think it's their belief, because I know that they can do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I know that diamond is easy, mm-hmm. but I don't feel like anybody else believes that.
Okay. If you were someone who could help them believe that, who would you be?
I don't know.
Melissa, what does I don't know mean? Teach them right now. It's a filler statement. It's what we say when we haven't taken the time to actually search for the answer. And when we're not ready to admit it. Go ahead now.
When you were talking about affirmations, I'm feeling stupid, I've tried to do affirmations and I just I do it for a day or two and I stop because I don't know. And I sit and stare at a piece of paper, like, what affirmations do I need in order to be in the next level?
Okay, well, first of all, I don't make affirmations. I make declarations. Affirmation means I need some sort of like validation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need a validation. I don't need to be affirmed of what I already know. I am declaring what I desire. I am speaking into existence truth. That's a very big difference. So it's not what do you need, what affirmations do you need, what do you need to declare and speak life into? What's the rank that you were going for?
5-star.
Okay. I'm a 5-star diamond coach, and no one can tell me otherwise. I am a master recruiter. I am a powerful leader. I speak vision and life into my team. I empower my team to believe bigger than they have been believing. I believe so much in my team that my belief is enough to carry them into achieving their goals. So good that we're recording this and you can write those down.
I was like, those are so fast. I'm going to have to go back.
Yes, an hour and 2, right around the hour and 2 or hour and 7 minute. But let's go a little deeper because there's still something there. I can see it. Why haven't you been able to speak life into them right now? How come you haven't been someone that's able to help them see what's possible?
Because I've been stuck at the same spot for a year now.
Oh, so maybe it's because you haven't advanced that you feel there's a residual of, well, I haven't been able to do it. So no wonder you have trouble. Sometimes we bring our own story into the mix.
And I've been trying to work through the I don't work enough in order to deserve it.
Oh, that's a good one. What do you mean you don't work enough?
I mean, as enough hours, because I see
Mm-hmm.
other people, working hours and hours and hours. And I know you just said that if you're focused during those times, and I really am, but I think, yeah.
Well, that's a distorted perception. That's a distorted belief. Because I have a friend who barely works. I mean, this man, I'm wondering when he's going to start showing up. And yet, and just so you know, I'm a consultant for his company. He hired me a year ago. That was the last time I had a proper conversation with the man, when he hired me to be a consultant for his company. The company has already made over 100 million this year. And the dude barely shows up. How come he is worthy of working less and having more, but you are not?
Yeah.
Do you believe that in order for your current coaches to hit diamond, they have to work more hours? Or work harder?
Yeah, work harder for sure.
That's why. Nobody wants to work harder. I'm not signing up for that with you, Melissa. I'm out. You have to stop teaching your people to work hard. You have to start teaching your people to work efficiently and strategically. You have to start teaching your people to work intentionally. If their intention is to serve and support and really make an impact, then it's not hard. Do you think that this hour was hard for me? No. Has it been helpful for you? I did not work hard at all. I can promise you that when we go to Destin together, I will not be working hard. I will be working very easy. And I will be in Destin, which is beautiful, double easy, right? And I will not be working for free, FYI, right, Lindsay? But here's the thing, like, we have to get out of this, like, work hard, work hard, work hard. Yes, there are moments where things are more challenging than others, right? I'm working on the sales page. That's more of a challenge, right? That's not easy. It's a little more challenging, but it's still not hard because I am so committed to what's on the other side of that. Because I'm so excited about the event itself that this challenging piece that I have to get through to make sure that the event goes off, spectacularly is worth it. So can we redefine work hard, work intentionally, work with purpose, work with efficiency, work with strategy, work with vision? Some people are not working with vision. And when you don't work with vision, you don't have anything that gets you excited. And when you're not excited, it's very hard to get somebody interested in, like what you said right now, Melissa. I completely understand why they're not hitting diamond. It sounds like so much work. Gosh, I can't do any more work. I have 2 kids. Tired of working. I just want to have fun. I want to take care of people. I want to inspire them. I don't want to work out with anybody, but if I was a Beachbody coach, I would imagine I want to work out with them. Just make it fun. Or maybe I want to work out. I want to make working out fun. There is an angle. You hate to work out? Me too, but let's just do it because we know it's good for us. Let's just do it because we want to be around for our family and our kids, and we want to have the energy to match, an 8 and a 10-year-old. Does that help, Melissa?
Very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Just to let you know, when I was listening and making dinner for this call, Steven saw your face and he said, go take the phone in the other room and get on the call.
Hey. I make happy husbands. Tell him I said what's up. Hey, Hal. What's up, my boy? I saw him for a second. I can't hear you. I see your lips are moving, but no sound is coming out. My faith is not being increased.
He had to jump on this call. It was Hal, like, it was actually Hal who came to me and was like, guess who should come with us to Florida? Not even kidding, guys. Not even kidding. When I say you should be in Florida, like, I feel like this was an appetizer of, like, where you, like, I'm telling you, I worked with her, and Melissa got to work with her in a different course, but I got to work with her one-on-one. And there's something, Rachel, this conversation, I was like, do you think it'll be okay if there's a big group? Like, do you think that'll be okay? Like, I was thinking about, because sometimes we've got big retreats, and I'm like, did everybody, sometimes people, like, want this. Like, they want what Melissa just got, right? Like, this is my problem. But what Rachel taught me was, most likely a lot of you struggle with what Melissa is struggling with as well. So it just gave you all a bunch of clarity because he spoke up on it. And now everybody gets it. And, like, that explains so much. What, so
yeah.
And yes, my tagline is that Rachel Luna creates happy husbands. I think Jeremy and I coined that phrase.
They did. They did. Jeremy, yes. We'll have to tell him that we mentioned him. Okay. But yes, there's a but.
Sorry.
No.
But to top on Lindsay's thing, I really hope that all of you guys take a moment when we're in Florida with Rachel to ask her those kinds of questions and do that. We've seen an incredible value from Rachel over the last, God, girl, how long have we been working together and friends?
Like 4 or 5 years, yeah.
So, I mean, we've been at leadership retreats where, we're just hanging out having lunch, and you can get nuggets. And this is all about helping you guys. So take advantage of it.
Yeah. I love Q&A too. So, yes, I always get lucky. I always seem to have a client who will take me on a leadership. I don't think they let you do that anymore, but there was a time where you could bring anybody. and clients would take me to leadership and success club. I almost went to Mexico this year, but I had a schedule conflict. So I'm available for trips for 2019 if any of you want to bring me as your special guest. I am good company. Okay, listen, I have one, two, three, four, five. I got 6 questions left to ask you. I'm just going to do them rapid fire, and that way if anybody, Jennifer, spot on the cruise, sign me up. I'm available. Unless it's June 1st to the 2nd, in which case everybody needs to quit the cruise and come to my live event. Okay. Man, do we have time? How are we doing on time? If y'all need to go, if anybody needs to go, you can go. I think I'm just dismissing people here like it's my show, but I just got to
go ahead. We're good.
Okay. I just got a couple more things. I just want to make sure if you have kids or whatever, you got to go. I'm not going to be offended if you need to go. Okay, next question I want you to ask yourself is, what battle are you fighting? Now, I did a live stream earlier today where I went into detail on this, on what battle are you fighting and what weapons are you employing. But let me just give you a little snippet, is that we are all fighting a battle. It's either a limiting belief, a fear, a doubt, a partner, a 9-to-5 job. There's something that every time we try to go forward, that thing comes up to just bring us down. It's very important that you understand the battle that you are fighting in these next 48 days. Is it a battle of limiting belief? Is it a battle of self-doubt? Is it a battle of time? Is it a battle of will? Is it a battle of health? You have to understand, when you know your opponent, you can, bye Melissa, you can fight the battle effectively. So I want you to identify that. The next thing I want you to ask yourself is, what weapons are you employing? And again, you can watch my live stream. Lindsay, if you want to share that live stream into your group, and that way they can watch it a little.
I shared it.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
Because you hit like money mindset, which is a huge thing with people, and I was like, this is so good.
Watch that live stream. I think it's only about 20 minutes, so it's a short watch, but I did share some very important nuggets in there. When we talk about the weapons that you're employing, I identified 5 weapons of mass destruction, and that these 5 weapons that you have can either destroy your dreams or they can destroy the opponent that you're fighting. And I don't know about you, but I'm trying to destroy the opponent at every single opportunity. So definitely watch that so you can figure out how to destroy your enemy with the weapons that you have available to you. The next question, and these are just questions that I encourage you to journal around, have a discussion with your spouse. I know we have some spouses on the call. If you don't have a spouse, connect with someone that's on the call right now and just say, like, look, let's just ask each other these questions. There's so much value in coaching each other. And one of the things I always told Lindsay was, learn from me, coach your people the way that I coach you. I want you to ask the hard questions. Ask each other the hard questions. Pair up, and don't let this week pass without having a 20-minute conversation. Each of you gets 10 minutes, and you go through these questions and you identify the battle that you're fighting. You identify what weapons that you're choosing to employ. You identify who you need to be in this moment before you sit down to do any work. What kind of leader are you choosing to be? Are you going to be a leader who's a visionary, who inspires action, who's decisive, who thinks out of the box? Or are you going to be a passive leader who actually isn't a leader at all, but is more of a manager? You see, the difference between a leader and a manager is that a manager just sort of shuffles people, tells them where they need to go. A leader inspires others to take action. A leader enrolls people in their vision. A leader will identify where the talent is and empower every single person in the team to do something bigger. What bold, out-of-the-box actions will you take as a leader in 2018, that's right now, to set you up for a strong start in 2019? Remember, y'all, this is the 48 days. It's the critical 48 days. Okay. It's a vision question. What vision? Because remember, an effective leader has vision for days. What vision do you have for the Shanti launch happening on December 4th? Have you thought about the story that you're going to tell to effectively communicate why they should get on that program? Have you thought of the outcomes that are possible for them when they jump on and join you in whatever you're doing, a challenge, a group, an in-person fit club? Do they still do those anymore? Because I loved me some fit club. I wish I had a fit club right now in my neighborhood. Woo-hoo. Where's she at? Come on, Beachbody coach. I live in an older community though. I don't have any Beachbody coaches here. They're like elderly. And then finally, the last question I want you to think about is, what stories are you telling yourself that might be stopping you from stepping up to be the person that you were called to be? I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I need to work more hours. I don't have enough time. My spouse doesn't support me. I don't have a community. I'm not interesting. I don't know how to sell. Nobody listens to me. I'm afraid to be seen. They're going to judge me. My family's going to think I'm offending them. My family's going to tell me to stop posting that. My loved ones are going to tell me that this is just a little side gig. They're going to belittle me. People are going to watch me fail. If I do this and it doesn't work, I'm just going to prove everybody right that this actually doesn't work. Well, I can go out for days. I've heard all of them. And guess what? All of them. Lies. So what if your family says whatever? You know that for the longest, my mom doesn't do it anymore because I trained her. But for the longest time, I would get text messages and Facebook messages from my mom. Must you broadcast everything? Don't talk about your income on social media. Why do you always have to put that on Facebook? You know you tell too much. She would say it in Spanish, but I'm going to translate it. She said, flies don't go into closed mouths. Basically, keep your mouth shut. Stop telling everybody your business. Stop showing up so boldly. Stop being you. I dyed my hair pink. I had not seen my brother. I had not seen my brother in 16 years. First words out of his mouth is, what's up with your hair? That's what you have to say to me after 16 years? What's up with your hair? Shut up. I like it. People are always going to have an opinion. They're always going to have judgments. Let them judge you for being you. Let them judge you for speaking boldly about what you believe in instead of judging you for being who you think they want you to be. There's so much more freedom in just being who you are and accepting the fact that some will, some won't, so what? And I could keep on talking to y'all all night, but let's call it a wrap there. Questions? Don't be shy. I don't have to go anywhere. I just want to be respectful of your time. Tiffany, you and the hubby got a question? Because y'all both looked at each other like, should we ask? Should we say something? Should we just hang up and go to bed now?
Question.
Yes.
Could you address, I know I brought it up a little bit and I'm not sure how I want to position this question, but I would love for you to just talk about money first.
Money mindset?
Yeah, I don't know if I even need to ask you the question, but I think I don't know, you guys, maybe if you could, do you struggle with money mindset? Do you know if you struggle with that? Like, do you know that's a thing? Because I didn't know it was a thing, and then I learned, and I was like, whoa.
So the thing about money mindset is that it affects everybody differently. And the first part to recognize is that you're going to have money mindset things creep up at every income level. So every time you get to one, so for example, I remember when I first started my business, making $5,000 a month was like a major, like I couldn't even envision it. And then I did that And then I thought making $10,000 a month was like, oh my God. Like I remember thinking if I made $10,000 a month, I would be set. And I was stuck in this plateau for the longest time because what I discovered was that I had a belief. This was at the time my husband and I were having a lot of issues in our marriage. We made it, y'all. We made it. But it was touch and go there for a moment. Actually, a couple of years moment. So it was a very, very long moment. And it was a hard moment. And I remember struggling between wanting to get out of this marriage because I was so unhappy, but not wanting to leave my husband because I loved him. And I didn't make enough money to leave, so I couldn't go. But I had this fear that if I started making real money, if I had enough money to leave, then I would leave and I would lose my marriage. And so I had this limiting belief that I couldn't make more than whatever amount of money, because if I did, I would leave my husband. Now, it took a lot for me to even realize that that was the story. Rather than me recognizing that that was the issue, what was presenting itself is I was stuck in this plateau. And nothing I did, no matter I did all the things that everyone said to do, but I could not break through. And so I kept wondering, well, what's going on? Why? And then I realized I was asking the wrong question, because why is this happening to me is not the right question. The right question is, what would happen if I made the money that I really wanted to make? What would happen? How would my life change if I had the money that I wanted? How would my life get better? How would my life get harder? What additional responsibilities would I have to deal with if I made the money that I say I want? And it wasn't asking those questions that I realized, like, if I make this money, then it's going to be really easy for me to leave. And I don't really want to leave, but the only thing that keeps me staying is the fact that I don't have the money to leave, right? It's horrible dissonance. Remember we talked about dissonance earlier today? 2 different thoughts fighting with each other all at once. And I didn't know anything about declarations like I know now. So I was really in a world of hurt, because I tell you right now, if I had known declarations, I would just declare myself free from all of that. So for those of you that are in a money situation where, let's just sort of survey the room. How many of you feel like if you had more money, then XYZ, life would be great. Things would get better, things would change, right? Right? Yeah, if I had more money, then I would be debt free. If I had more money, then da-da-da-da-da. Why we don't make the money that we want to make comes down to those questions that I mentioned before, and also a lack of worthiness. That's the harder one to deal with. I feel like we should tackle. Did someone's throat just get really tight in here? Hey, don't leave me hanging. If that's you, if your throat just got tight with us talking about this, I need you to say yes in the comments. Anyway, so that's a really difficult one to deal with, because you have to now start to recognize, okay, thank you, Tiffany Grace. Y'all, did Lindsay not tell you that I have the physical empathy? So if I can feel when people's body starts to like, your stomach will drop, and all of a sudden I feel this thing in my tummy. Y'all, when you don't tell me that what I'm feeling is real, I start to feel like I'm crazy. Don't leave me out there feeling like a lunatic, okay? I just need the confirmation, okay, yes, I'm in the right room. I'm picking up the right sensations and feelings. Okay, so take a couple of deep breaths, first of all, because it is really tight. Is your stomach tight, Holly? And there's a tight chest, too. Good Lord. It's now really stacking up. I feel like I gave permission for y'all to feel your feelings, and so now it's getting good. Okay, so let's just handle this. The worthiness part is harder to deal with, because none of us want to believe that we don't think we're worthy. And especially for those of us that have done a lot of work in personal development, you really want to believe like, but I've covered this. I should be over this by now. So there's good news and bad news. The good news is this too shall pass. If you've covered it, overcome it once, you will overcome it again. The bad news is that at every new level, there's going to be a new level of worthiness and lack of self-worth that you're going to have to wage against. So the first question that you can ask yourself is, where is this feeling of lack coming from? And I like to give examples because I think that sometimes we can sort of get a better idea. I was dealing with a worthiness issue, a while back. I was looking at some people and they were on this retreat together, and I knew all the people there, but they were, in my mind, they were a couple steps ahead of me. And I felt this thing of, man, I would love to be on that trip. And so I started to do what I tell everybody to do: visualize what you want. So I started to visualize myself on this trip. And as I watched myself in my visualization, I realized that we were all sitting at the table and they were all talking, but I was not participating in the conversation. And I was taking on this role of a spectator. And I thought, that's interesting. Why am I not talking at the table in my own vision? Like, if it's my visualization, shouldn't I be like the star of the show? Shouldn't everybody be like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing? Because it's my vision, right? Like, I have control over what I daydream. But I was daydreaming that they were all having these great conversations, and I was sitting there, part of the table, but not part of the conversation. And I asked myself, well, that's weird. Why is this coming up? And I realized I didn't feel worthy to sit at that table. And I said, well, why wouldn't I be worthy? I'm just as smart. And I went through all these questions. Mind you, y'all, this is a daydream. This is not in real life. None of this is happening for real. But all those feelings of lack of worth I felt them for real. And so I said, well, why? That's weird. Why would I not be participating? Why am I not worthy? And then I realized that I believed that I wasn't worthy to join in on the conversation because they all made more money than me. And if I wasn't making as much money as they were, what the hell did I know? So dumb. So dumb. I don't usually label things as smart or dumb, but in this particular scenario, it was really silly. Because what I had to recognize in that moment is that I knew all the things that I needed to do. In fact, I had counseled some of those people that I was daydreaming about. Some of those very people had asked me for advice about things. The difference between why they had the income that they had and I didn't have the income is, number one, they were taking the actions that I knew to take, but I wasn't taking with consistency. And number two, they believed that they were worthy of receiving that kind of income. And there was a part of me that still felt like I didn't know enough. And who was I to make that kind of money? Who was I to be able to be a six-figure earner? Who was I to be a multiple six-figure earner? Who was I to be a seven-figure earner? Well, their business model was a little different than mine. So surely it wasn't going to work out for me. So there were all these stories that began to come into play. So I share that with you because I want you to ask yourself right now, where do I see my worth? If I were to say to you right now, visualize, you could sit at any table with anybody in your industry. Let's just keep it on the industry level, right? Because I think that's it's a little easier and it makes it a little more real. But think about leaders that you respect and admire in Beachbody. If you could sit at a table with any of them, who would be at that table? And how would you, today, right now, this is not when you're making whatever, today, right now, who would be at the table and how would you feel sitting at that table? Would you feel like you belonged or would you feel inadequate? Would you feel that you needed to make X amount of money before you could actually be at the table? Or do you recognize that your presence and who you are as a person is good enough, more than good enough, to be at that table and to share insights and ideas. This is heavy stuff, just so we know. And I wish I could tell you that, yeah, just figure out the answer to that and you'll be good. Great. No, so once you figure out why you don't feel worthy, ask yourself, if I had this money, how would the money make me worthy? I mean, the answer is that the money doesn't make you worthy, right? That's the surface answer, but there's another internal answer that's going to come up, and it's different for everybody because we're making money mean something. Holly says we're all on the same path and money means nothing. Well, on the surface, Holly, money means nothing, but every single one of us assign a meaning to the money. So you have to figure out why you make money mean whatever it means for you. This is like deeper work. I feel like we're going to need a whole other hour, but I don't like to leave open loops. So let me close it up for you for a little bit so you can actually take some action here. I'd like you to think about that analogy this evening. I'd like you to envision yourself sitting at that table at your current income level and ask yourself, if I were at that table making exactly the same amount as they make, how would I show up? Who would I be? What actions would I take this week as someone who was invited to that table? I think you're going to find that your actions are slightly different. Not only are your actions slightly different, but your posture changes. And when I say posture, I don't just mean that posture. I mean your posture and how you show up to work, your posture in how you handle business, your posture in the conversations that you have with other people. All of that begins to change. Oh my gosh, who wants to cry? I feel like somebody's going to cry after this. Okay, thank you, Michelle. Oh, that came up fast too. That's okay. Crying is really good. It's really healing. So just let it out. You're going to start to see that your posture is going to change. And I also want to give you what to look out for, because as you do this work, that doubting voice is going to get even louder. And if you really want to break free from this, I really want to encourage you. Oh, wow, it's really coming up. I might just cry with you, okay? Sometimes that happens. When that happens, that is when I want you to really stand fast with those declarations that we spoke about. This is not easy work. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. And I already know some of you are not going to do it, and that's okay. You might not be ready. People taught me these things years and years and years and years before I actually started doing it. Sometimes we're just not ready. And it is also okay for you not to be ready. There's nothing wrong with you if you're not ready. It just means there's some other things that we need to clear before you can step into the space that you're trying to go into. And it doesn't have to take a long time either, by the way. We could maybe clear some stuff in Destin, right? We might just a little 15-minute side conversation and boom, and then you're free of that. And then there's a whole new devil that we're going to have to tackle, okay? But I just want you to be aware of what's up ahead for you, because you're doing big, powerful things. And every time that you are called to level up, you are called to step into a place of discomfort. And then guess what? You get comfortable in that place. And then you have to get out of the box. I said to someone the other day, one of the reasons why I'm doing my live event is going to be 500 people. I hope to see many of you in the room with me in Atlanta. But one of the reasons I decided this year that I finally had to do it was because I have been doing small events, 10, 15 people, 50 the most. And I got to this point where I did one a couple months ago, and I was so uncomfortable in the room because the room was too small for me. I felt like I was in a box and I needed to break free. So I spoke at my friend's event. I was like, man, this is easy. Like, she just put 500 people in the room. I just crushed that room. I just blew the whole roof off the Marriott here. I need to have my own event. I need to stop playing in this small little playground, right? So I made the decision. I walked off that stage and I felt big and bold and bam. I was like, got this. And then I started to take action towards this live event. And now the box was huge and scary. And I had people telling me, you can't do that. You need to lower your number of attendees. This isn't going to work. Are you sure you want to do that? Well, you're going to have to pay this. Like, people started telling me all these things. And I was just like, but I don't hear you. I can't hear you, you see, because my own voice is so loud, telling me that I got this, telling me that I create sold out experiences, telling me that everything attached to me wins, telling me that people of influence are working on my behalf, that I see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you. The box is still very big and it is very uncomfortable. And once a day, I think to myself, maybe we shouldn't do it. And as soon as that maybe I shouldn't do it comes in, first of all, I now feel a slap in my face. I don't know where the slap is coming from, but I literally feel like someone's slapping me and saying, girl, you have been called for such a time as this. Behold, we are doing a new things. Now, suddenly, new blessings are coming in. Floodgates are being broken down for you. How does that happen? Because I do the work. I do the work when I don't want to do the work. I do the work when I am crying the ugly cry. And believe me, it is a very, very ugly cry. I allow myself to be vulnerable. I allow myself to have moments of weakness. I allow myself to say, I feel insecure at times, even though I'm allegedly the queen of confidence. I don't call myself that, but people keep introducing me as that. I'm like, where did that come from? I've been on a couple podcasts. They're like, oh, Rachel Luna, the queen of confidence. I'm like, well, who said? Who said? Right? But I have this reputation of being like almost confident. And yet I allow myself to be vulnerable and scared and insecure because that's part of the journey. I feel that feeling and then I shut it down. The biggest danger that we can get into is not dealing with what's really coming up for us. Trying to shove it under the rug. Listen, when we were talking about the money mindset and I talked to you about lack of worth, if that really hurt you, if you felt that on a deep level and you don't deal with that, you are going to hurt yourself even more. We've already uncovered it, so let's deal with it. Why don't I feel worthy? Who said I wasn't worthy? What is the first memory that I felt where I felt less than or not good enough? When in my business have I felt less than or not good enough? Is that true? Are those statements true? Am I really not good enough? Am I really less than? Why would I believe that? Who said? Who said is a very important question to ask. Because if they are people who do not have the lifestyle and the relationship and the everything that you want, then they's opinion don't matter. I love it when broke people try to tell me about money. I don't care how many books you read. If I don't see you living, now let me rephrase this because I felt like that might have just triggered either someone watching or someone on a replay. There's a time where you are an expert because you are sharing what you've learned in your research, but you haven't yet implemented all the steps in your business. That's okay. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the people that will tell you they know everything, but they're doing nothing of what they know. Okay? Some of you are still on your journey. You, because you are on the journey, you know what to do and you are doing it, you are living it, you have authority and you are empowered to bring other people and to be the guide for those other people. Okay? You hear what I'm saying? I don't want anybody talking about, well, Rachel said that she don't take advice from people because they're not. I would just clarify that for every single one of you. Every single person on this call is empowered and has authority to claim their expertise as a guide. Okay? I'm glad we said that. Weight was just lifted. Okay. What else?
Question. I could totally ask you another one, but y'all, yeah. Anyone?
They don't know yet. They're still scared.
They're like, I don't know about her. I was gonna just say maybe address just a bit about who you surround yourself with. I could kind of went there a little bit, which I thought was kind of interesting because I mentioned for me personally, I did I was like you. I had the dream like Rachel did, where I was with like starting to go into these leadership things, and I was like, nah, I don't belong at that table. I don't belong. And I was kind of doing my thing. And then Hal, you know, I don't know if he's still on here, but he was like, you need to ask this girl to work with you. And I was like, I was ready to vomit, like so nervous. And it was one of the best things that ever. And I found myself surrounded with people who, you know, have what I'm working towards and value my opinions to this day. So I don't know if that like makes sense, but maybe if we could like expound on that, like really thinking about who you're working with and who maybe you're with in your environment outside of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I'm formulating my thoughts on that. So, well, first of all, I'm very careful who I let in my inner circle. I'm surrounded by tons of people. Can't help it. It's the nature of the beast. And as you start to grow platform, there's always people that want to be in your space. But I'm very protective over who becomes an actual friend, who I'm going to spend any kind of real time with, who I'm going to get on a phone call with. What I'm looking for is, are they in real life the way that they are online? Because some people are very motivating online, but then you get in a room with them and they're such Debbie Downers. And it's like, but didn't I just see you posting that motivation the other day? Like, you're really killing my buzz right now. What's happening here? So I really make sure that the people that I surround myself, I can see it. I'm trying to find the words. Like, they are who they say they are. They walk their talk. I only hang out with real people. That's number one. Number two, I seek to be in the company of people who are at least 2 steps ahead of me. How do you do that? Sometimes you have to pay to get into that room. Sometimes you got to pay to play. You got to pay to get into that space. So I seek high level masterminds. I seek opportunities where there are people who are, by the way, not in my own industry. I look outside my industry because when you look outside your industry, that's where your creativity gets stimulated. So that's another thing. And then I just make it a point to be part of the events and the activities where my peers are going to be. So for example, I went to, I spoke at an event, but a couple months ago, I went just as a participant to an event. I got VIP because, listen, if you're going to go to an event, you need to get the VIP or the elite, whatever that next level is. That's where you need to be, because that's where people who are serious about changing their life, that's where they hang out. That's where movers and shakers are, in the front row. They're in the front of the room. They're at the front of the class, okay? Think about it like at school. Remember the little goodies that with the straight A's? Where did they sit? They sat in the front. You know where the clowns sat? Me, in the back. And you know who struggled through school? Me, because I was busy clowning around, not taking it seriously. People that sit in the front, they take it seriously. So whatever event you're going to be going to, make sure that you upgrade. I don't know what you need to do. Start setting aside your little event or mastermind fund right now. That, like, you should be doing that. You should be setting aside money to invest in myself. I don't even know what it's for yet, but I have an account just in case the right opportunity pops up. I have the money. I'm ready to go. I can afford the flight. I'm going to find myself a roommate. I'm going to get in the room. And then when I'm in the room, I'm going to make my presence known. People ask me all the time, how do you have all these big connections? Like, I am very well connected. And I know, like, you know, A-listers in the online marketing space. I made my presence known. I get in the room and I ask a question. I always, at an event, make it a point to get on the mic and I ask a question that will serve everybody in the room. So I say, hey, what's going on? My name is Rachel Luna from rachelluna.biz. Always plug yourself. I don't waste time with, oh, I'm so thankful. Thank you so much for being, you know, for this. You're so amazing. Have you been in the room when people do that? It's a waste of time. Nobody wants to hear it. You're sucking up time. So I always think, how can I add value? Whether I'm in a large event, whether I'm at a small table, whether I'm in a coffee shop and I see someone that I want to connect with, is how can I add value? So I will ask a question that adds value to the room and positions me as someone who knows what she's talking about. So I'm conscious of that. I'll say, hey, this is what I do. And I'm just wondering, what's your opinion? What's your take on X, Y, and Z? Because now it's not a, I need help. It's, what do you think? So everybody in the room can actually get some support. And I have found that that's a really great way to connect with high level people. And then, like I said, I go to industry events. So for every single one of you, you should be striving for the Success Club trip. You should be striving for whatever leadership trip that you qualify for, because getting in the room with, and then when you are there, connecting with people outside of your team. In your team is great, but also outside of your team, so that you can see what are the best practices at the teams that are, you know, the teams that you admire. Like, you should be cross-pollinating with all them people. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. You have to make it a point to break outside of your comfort zone. Is it comfortable to sit at a table where you don't know anybody and make chit chat? Listen, I hate chit chat. Oh my God, do I hate chit chat? But you got to do it. You ask two little chit chatty questions and then you get right down to business and say, you know what, let's just go deeper. So tell me, what's really keeping you up at night? What's one area where you could really use some support? Is there anything I could do to show up for you and help you? Just, what's your goal for the next 6 months? How can I help you get to the next level? I'm always looking, how can I serve them? How can I serve them? And you know what? That has worked out really well for me, because now I'm doing this event. I've poured into so many people. Oh, I've just been making calls like, hey, can you help me? Sure, girl. Hey, I got an event planner who charges $15,000 who's reviewing all my stuff for free. Because I was just, when I met her, I was like, hey, you're so awesome. How can I make your job easier? What do you need from me so that this event could be a success? I didn't work for her. I was just trying to be a helpful person. I did not even think, when I was being nice and sweet to her, that she was going to then turn around and offer me all these things. So look to serve and add value first. Period. Nancy says, my husband's coach check goes to that exactly. I didn't understand that, Nancy. Say that again.
Her husband's CBC. So you know how you can, in our strategy.
Oh, her coach check. Okay, got it. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
And she actually, shout out to Nancy, not only did she earn Destin, but she earned the New Leader Conference that they have.
Hey, go Nancy. It's your birthday. Go.
That's where you're going to start meeting those like mid-level.
The power players, yep.
That's the 1-star, 2-star 3-star.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the 5-star leadership, which is the other one. Airline paid.
Airline paid and ready to go. That's what I'm talking about, girl. Work it.
So yeah, and that's what's cool about Florida too, is you guys will surround yourself, especially if you're newer or you're trying to get to that and elevate to that next level of I'm making income, but I'm trying to like break that barrier. Like you're going to be able to surround yourself with us, which is
You got to get in the room. That's really the key though. Like you have to be in the room. I know that we can have these coaching calls, and I know you know, we get a ton of value from these coaching calls, but nothing replaces being in the space, being in the energy, being able to actually touch and connect. The conversations just go so much deeper than, I mean, I have had some very deep coaching calls, but I mean, just being in the room takes it to a whole other level. You actually show up at a different level. You come in one way, but you leave another way. And that's really, really powerful. So I would really encourage, like, whatever you need to do. I've given you so many steps tonight. I've told you, even if you just pick one of the things that, even if you just zeroed in on one, communicating effectively, inspiring action, thinking outside the box, being decisive, even if you just focus on one of those things, you could make such a powerful impact in the next 48 days. And that could be the thing that helps you earn your ticket to Destin. So I hope that you are activated. I hope that you don't just hear the words that are coming out of my mouth and say, yeah, that's good, I'm going to do it, and then just throw it away. Because you didn't waste my time. Lindsay and I have a contract. I'm good, but you just wasted your time. And I just want to know, how much more of your time do you want to keep wasting? How much longer do you want to say, I should be further along, or I should have been there already, or I wish, I hoped? Like, it's time to stop telling that story. And I've given you the exact blueprint to break the story. And above and beyond that, I've given you the mindset tools to help you wage that war and win it. Not just fight a battle, actually win it. And when you can do that, you can show up every single day. My husband and I, we have a motto. We made it. We used to say when we were going through our tough times, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. We used to say that. And one day I said, we need to stop saying we're going to make it. Because when we say we're going to make it, it implies that we haven't made it yet and that we're still on the struggle. So let's just say every day we made it. And so now we talk on the phone, babe, I love you. We made it. We're still in it, right? We're still alive. Who the hell knows what's going to happen in 10 years, but we made it today. And so you have a chance right now to say, I made it. I made it to Destin. I made it today. At the end of the night, before you put your head on the pillow, did I make it? Yes, I made it today. Made it today, and I'm going to make it tomorrow. The end. That's a wrap. I wish I had one of those things. Somebody needs to get me one of those and see.
Actually, you dropped your mic.
Oh, I have one of those. Wait, let me
Drop
just.
your mic.
I got. Anyway, but thank you for having me. I hope that this served you.
Thanks for taking this. Actually, she does. She just took an extra hour, which is awesome for you guys. And this is all recorded, so you can go back to write out the declarations. I'll text her for declarations and the questions. And this is a lot of hard work. And I think for me, like the voice that I've always heard, and I think I've told Rachel this multiple times, there's always been a voice that just says, just keep going. It's going to be good. Just keep fighting through. And it's funny, Rachel, if you look at my Facebook, there's a photo of me when I was working with you. It's a fake smile. I saw it come up in my memories. It was 2015. And I'm like, and now I'm like, and I'm like, what, who, huh? What was she over there? So you guys, like, it's so worth the hard work, or I don't want to say hard, but
intentional.
the intentional work, it's so worth it because it's so good to be like, I'm still going through stuff and doing things and new levels and new devils and all that stuff. But like, oh my God, it's so worth it.
Can I just add one little thing to what you said though too, Lindsay? Because you said like, just keep going, it's going to pay off. I want you to just keep going, but I want you to enjoy that you are in the going of it, right? Like you have to find joy in the getting there. I use this analogy all the time. I'm going to just do it real quick for you guys. Okay. It's one of my favorites. I'm over here, right? I want to get over there. Where am I now? I'm here. Every time you get there, your there becomes here. And so it never ends, right? Because now I'm here. Well, I'm almost out of the frame, so I want to be here so y'all can see me. So now I got to get, now I'm here again. So I just want you to recognize that as soon as you hit whatever it is you think you're trying to go for, like Melissa earlier said, like she wants to hit 5-star, I promise you, as soon as she hits 5-star, she's going to be like, okay, 10-star. Okay, 15-star. Okay, 5 CBCs, right? Like we're never there. We will you know what there is? Death. That's the final, that's it. There's nothing else after that. That's when the actual journey ends. So make it a point to, I'm going to rejoice in the good. I'm going to rejoice in the challenging. I'm going to rejoice in all things because I know that in all things, it's being worked for my good. In all things work for your good. Even the most difficult thing, because you know that your greatest struggle, your biggest mess becomes your message. I tell the story all the time about how I was the other woman. And I was so ashamed. I was afraid people were going to find out about it. I was afraid that woman, I later became a coach and I started talking and I was afraid that she was going to one day show up at one of my talks and say like, you're so women's empowerment. How does it feel to be a home wrecking hoe? Like that was my fear, right? And so I took back that power and I tell that story. And you know how many women come up to me and say, thank you. I feel so ashamed and now I know I don't have to be the person who I was, right? So whatever you're going through right now is just part of the journey. And that story, this mess, this season, this struggle is going to help you help somebody else. So you really have to honor the season that you're in, honor the struggle, honor the journey, find the joy in the hardship, and just recognize that there is going to be this moment where you're like, oh, yes, this feels good. And then that moment is going to last for a little bit. And then you're like, okay, this no longer feels good. This is uncomfortable now. I need to grow now. And the cycle repeats.
Yeah.
So, just want to make sure y'all get that.
So good. So
okay. Let's see.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Yay. Oh, Nancy says she never misses a single retreat. Don't miss a retreat, y'all. Don't miss a retreat. Do what you need to do. You can do it. I believe in you, and I'm believing enough for you. So just take all my belief, and if I'm believing, all you have to do is execute. Okay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I cannot wait. We're like, 48 days to the new year, which means 10-ish days after that. So we're like 50, 60 days. And I went diamond in 60 days. So y'all can do this. You can do this. You can do it. Even in this season, you can do it, especially with this launch coming. All right. We are going to let you go. Thank you so much for taking this extra time. I know there were some who missed it, who want the recording, so they're super, super excited. And Rachel is in our planning group in there, so she's hanging out in there, watching and learning. Like, so if you guys have things, I think for her, she's curious about more questions, just so when she comes down, she knows like what she's, kind of coming into it. We've talked about topics, we've surveyed topics that we'll be talking about there, but also just so she gets a feeling of like, okay, this is what,
the struggles. Yeah.
So get excited. It's going to be so much fun. We're working on a Saturday night fun plan too. Just FYI. I haven't figured it out yet, but
I'm available for fun.
I know. I've seen you on Success Club. It's fun. We've had lots of fun trips together. So, here we go. Florida. 60-ish days, you guys. I cannot wait. All right. Let's all jump off. You guys, thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you, guys. Bye. I do salsa. Yes, I do. I'm for it. Available for that.
Oh.
Good night. Good night.